If your company runs a split testing program, or if you are running split tests for your clients, this video is for you. A little bit of context on what you're going to see in the video. I'm going to use only free tools to build this A/B test. And it's going to be an on-page A/B test, so there's going to be some JavaScript involved. I will not write a single line of JavaScript. We will use AI to do that, although I could, but I want to make it so that everybody can follow, and even people who cannot code can do this kind of implementation. So again, free tools. We are going to use PostHog for tracking, which is free up to 1 million events per month. We're going to use Microsoft Clarity to get some insights on what to test on the page. And then I'm going to use GTMsplit to actually run the split test. Okay, let's talk about the experiment. I have this page. This is a real site with real traffic. And what I want to do here, I want to get more leads. That's the outcome we want to get from this experiment. And the form here is at the very bottom of the page. Now people can get to this form from anywhere on the page from this button here. So you see this button gets, it becomes sticky at the top of the page as users are scrolling. And then if you click it, it scrolls down to the end of the page. So it's already well built, I have to say. It's very hard to make it convert better, because this is always visible. This is one of the first changes I make when I work with clients, just make elements more visible, and just leveraging that, you can get more clicks, you can get more conversions. But here the element has already a good placement, so we need to think out of the box. I want to do one thing. I'm going to use Clarity here. This is Microsoft Clarity, which is making session recording and heat maps. I want to find this page, which is this one here, and I want to open the scroll map and see. So I'm interested in desktop, mobile. Let's see what is the... So I want to see the drop off, because you see I have a lot of people at the top of the page. 90% gets here, but 85%, and then at some point they start to drop. So I think we need to find a placement somewhere here that gives us more visibility. And remember that this element is always on top of the page like this, but I want to place it somewhere else. So Clarity has a very nice feature that is this one, summarize heat maps. So if you click here, it's gonna write a summary of what people do on the page. Maybe we get some good idea. Let's see. Okay, user behavior. It said the desktop and mobile user often click. How do you read these diagrams? Which is it's up here. So this is an on-demand content. You click this, and this opens and explains the diagrams. And it's saying that mobile users frequently end session on save results, which is the form. And so I'm thinking, what if we combine the two? Overall, it seems that a lot of people are reading this part of the page, but as you can see, there is no call to action here. So I'm wondering if I place the call to action here at the bottom of this section, they are going to see it in a moment where they are very likely to use it, because they just understood how to read these diagrams. And so they just had this aha moment. And I think it's a very good place to place the call to action. So I'm going to place the call to action here. So basically copy this button and put it here. And then we'll set up the experiment. Okay, this is the new page I modified. So here now at the end, we have this new button, which does the same thing as this. If I click it, it scrolls down to the form. All right. So note about editing and changes. Now, I know that you're used to have a visual editor in your split testing tool to make the changes. Now, GTMsplit has no editor. Most split testing tools, they have a visual editor. I warmly recommend not to use it for one reason. Visual editors are basically trying to replicate the behavior of your page and then use JavaScript, like we do. We also use JavaScript, but they use JavaScript on their editor to replicate the behavior or something on the user's browser, okay? So this is complex and it breaks. So if you get the JavaScript that modify the pages on your browser, that JavaScript is self-contained and you can test it. It's an approach that is less prone to failure. So our approach here is this. You already have a visual editor, which is the visual editor of your site. You may use Elementor, you may use Webflow, Shopify, whatever it is. You have a visual editor, so why do you need another one? You don't. All you need to do is this. You go to the page you want to modify, you make a copy in your editor, and then you go in the editor and change the copy. This is exactly the same process you would do in a split testing tool with the visual editor, all right? But you don't have to pay for that. You already have the editor. So when that is done, which I'm going to do now, is this. I'm going to save this as a HTML. So right click, save as, and I will call this control HTML, save, yes. And then I'm gonna take this. So you duplicate the page, you edit the page, you give a different URL to the page, and then you open it in the browser like I just did here. Right click, save as, and this is gonna be variant. I already have it here, so variant HTML, save. Now I have the two HTML versions saved, and I can create a JavaScript out of that, okay? So you see, I don't need an extra editor. I don't need to pay an extra editor. I don't need to introduce uncertainty on how the variations are created. This saves me from basically introducing noise in the experiment, because every time the JavaScript fails, that's not the problem for the user. The user more or less can still use the website, probably doesn't see the full change that you wanted to apply. And this kind of bias the results. But it misfires tracking because the JavaScript breaks. So you end up in having different number of people in the control and different number of people in the variation. That's like a sample mismatch ratio, which is a problem when you go to evaluate the results of the experiment. So if you use this method, you are much less likely to have this issue when the experiment is running. I will show you now why and how to build the JavaScript. So let's go in GTMsplit UI. This is the UI of GTMsplit. It's where you build the experiment. Now, I'm gonna click, by the way, GTMsplit is free, so now I'm using this UI, probably you're using something else, but this is free. You can just try it and see how it feels. So manage, edit, experiment. This is the experiment that I set up for this demonstration. I will take it from step one. So the name of the experiment is save button on test page. It's an on-page experiment. I have two variations, continue. This is the URL of the control, which is this, plus these parameters that identify the user, the tester, right? So I need to put an asterisk here to catch all the parameters. I can test the full URL just to make sure it works. So put here, test. It's a match. Cool. Continue. Now here I can restrict the audience. For example, I can use only Windows devices or only Android devices, Apple or different desktop, mobile or different browsers. And I don't want to do any of that. I want everybody to see it. But there is, with version 2, we are releasing one important feature, which is this. It's the first exposure contamination prevention. Now, this is a very long story. I have a full video about that. But basically, it prevents returning visitors from seeing the experiment. What does it give you? Every time a returning visitor sees the experiment, they tend to convert faster than the new visitors. That is not because the variation is better. It's because they're far along in their decision journey. So they see something different and they are nudged to take action. Now, you may think that this is good because you get more conversions, but actually it hurts you because you interpret these conversions as something good that your variation made happen. But actually, it's the novelty effect that these users saw anything different and they converted. So it doesn't tell you that B is better than A. It just tells you that B is different than A. So that is a problem because what happens is that you're going to trust this. You're going to think that B is better than A. You're going to roll it out. And when you run out of returning visitors, well, B is not better than A. Yeah. So you get the point high level, I think. So the right way to test is always to separate the people who may have seen the control before from people who are just coming now and they start their experience now. Now, these new people will take time to convert, so your experiments will probably have to run a little bit longer, but this is the only way to separate the novelty effect from the persuasion effect, okay? So we have baked this inside GTMsplit, and this is a super cool feature that is rolling out tomorrow, actually. So if you click this, it will completely remove returning visitors, not just returning visitors, visitors who may have seen the control. This is the right definition. If it's a returning visitor, but he hasn't been on this page, it will still, it will still be enrolled in the experiment. That's the key difference. Now, when do I want to start this experiment? Let's see, I can start it actually from tomorrow. Want to run it for, I would just put 6 weeks. This is another feature, cohorting. You can have enrollment days shorter than serving days. Very long feature to explain. Again, there is a video for that. Usually you want you just put them the same number here. Continue. Now here you have to write down the URL of your reporting document. Now I haven't created one. I'm going to do it now real quick. So I open an existing reporting document. I will make a copy, entire presentation. This is going to be exp 001. We'll have to move it to another folder, but I'll do it later. And here I want to remove these screenshots here. I want to go on my page and grab a screenshot of this. Just this is for you to remember what the actual change was, because in 6 months from now, if you don't do this, you will not remember the change. And when Brenda from marketing is coming and asking you, what did we change in that experiment? Do you remember why we made that change? Then you don't remember. You have to lose 1 hour to figure out what is that you changed. Instead, if you do it like this, so this is A, real quick, boom. And this is B. Again, So I'm reporting on Google Slides, as you can see, which is also free. So my entire experimentation stack is free. And it's not just me. I mean, I was doing this for my clients. I saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars in SaaS fee by using this sort of system. So your hypothesis here, of course, I have to change the hypothesis. Now I'm gonna save some time. I will not write it now, but basically the hypothesis here is that since a lot of people are already clicking on this, and we saw that from Microsoft Clarity, when they find the call to action at the bottom of this on-demand component, they will click save the results and they will scroll down to the form and I will get more leads. So that's the reasoning behind this. So it has to be explained here. Then I go on share. I set this to commenters so I can share it with my team. Copy link, done. Now I come back to the GTMsplit UI, paste the URL, continue. And now we are at the juicy part where we have to create the JavaScript variation. So now here is where people think this is hard. Gonna show you that this is not hard at all. So we have a custom GPT to do this. And the custom GPT will explain you what to do. You click this button and you are asked 2 files. And we have these 2 files because we just made them. One is control HTML and the other is variant HTML. So we're gonna get from here the control and the variant and open that. And now I don't have to do anything. This GPT knows already what to do. I'm gonna click here. And so what the GPT is doing now is comparing the control to the variant and is finding the differences. And its job is to write a piece of JavaScript that will turn the control into the variant. Very simple. You see, you don't need a visual editor. This can be done from AI and using 2 HTML files that you can generate from your own editor. And again, this is more robust because this now we're going to test and we're gonna see if it works. So the truth is that I have no idea which kind of changes it identified. And I know the changes that are on the page because I made them, but we are going to test this JavaScript here in the control before we deploy it with GTMsplit. So come on the control, right click, inspect, and this opens the Chrome inspector. Now, if you have never seen this, don't panic. There is really nothing complex to do. You click here, up here, console, and you come in this console. Then you come here and you paste the entire function you got, okay? Now, when I press enter on the keyboard, you will see this transforming into the variation. Let's try. Yep. So it takes a bit in the inspector, but on the site when the experiment is running, the change is applied instantly. Now I will check if it works. Click here. Yes. So this is good to go. Now, all we have to do, we already have the snippet copied. We come here and we paste it. Boom. And this is complete. So finish. Now, our experiment here is ready and set. And all is left to do is to export the container in Tag Manager. That's how GTMsplit works. This UI is only for configuring the experiment. Then you have to export. You click here, you export the container. It's up here. Then you come in your Tag Manager. You go on admin. And of course, you must have a GTMsplit container installed already in your Tag Manager. If you don't have it, you find it here. You click here, read, everything is very important, and then you download the container, and then you're going to install it exactly like I'm doing now. So you go in import container, choose container file. Now this is the configuration I just downloaded. This, by the way, is the full GTMsplit container. But now I already have this. I'm gonna load the configuration. So open, default workspace, yes. And you have to select merge override, okay? So there are two tags here that we're going to change, actually two variables. One is GTMsplit all experiments, and the other is GTMsplit exp1, which is the one we just created. So add to workspace, and now we have them. Now I will preview this container and see if it works. Gonna grab this URL to test it. So we're now in the tag assistant. Gonna paste this and connect. It will open the page and we will see what we got. So everything is working. We have to go down and see. Actually, we need to know in which variation we are. So inspect, right click, inspect. We open the inspector again. Now this is a little bit more advanced, no panic. You go on application and you go in cookies here, cookies, and then your site. You will find GTMsplit cookie. Here it is. So this tells me that I am in variation A, you see? So I want to see the variation B to check it renders properly. So I will replace A with B, okay? So you see experiment 001 B, and this is the timestamp when the experiment, when I was added to the experiment. And this flag here, 0 or 1, is the flag I was talking about before for the first exposure contamination. This means I was not contaminated, okay? Because I didn't have a cookie. All right, so now I know that I am in variation B. I go here, I reload, and I should see the change. So I have to go to the diagrams. Now up here, I open, and the change is here. You see, everything is working. So this is super easy to set up, super easy to debug. So at this point, let's talk about tracking. Because this is the first time I use the new version on this site, I still have to configure the tracking. I'm going to do it with you now. But this is one thing you have to do once, and then the tracking is always the same. So I will go here in the PostHog event, experiment, this one here, and I will have to modify this. We have to pass remember the first exposure contamination flag. So this is going to come from a variable here that, so I copied this, and this variable here is curly brackets, and then you have the list of variables here. So this is exp affected, experiment first exposure affected, and this we'll call it exp fec. Then I'm going to copy this, paste it, remove the space. This is gonna be exp fec, which I'm passing to this variable, and this variable will name like FEC affected. So this will show in PostHog as a flag, true or false, that tells us if this particular user may have seen the control before the experiment. Then during our analysis at the end of the experiment, we may decide to remove from the results the people who may have converted because of the novelty effect and not because B is better than A, all right? So at this point, I'm good to go. I'm just going to save. We're going to give it a try again. We go on preview, we click It opens again the tag assistant, connect again. And here we are on the preview window. Just a quick check on the tag assistant. We come here, we see the experiment event. This is fired by GTMsplit, and this is what is connected to the analytics tags. So you have here Funalytics, GA4, and PostHog. These are three different tracking systems on this particular website. You can use Mixpanel, Amplitude, whatever you want. It works. GTMsplit is connecting to everything. If I go in variables, I can see so this is the variant B. This is experiment first exposure contamination affected, and the value is 0, exactly like we have seen in the cookie. So this is working. I can go in PostHog just to make sure that I see the events. So let's go on data management, event definition, experiment, and see. Yeah, okay. This is the effect affected. I see it. So everything is working. This thing is tracking. The last thing left to do is to actually publish the experiment. So I come here, submit, and exp 001 on, meaning that I started. When I will switch it off, here I will write off, and that's how I keep track of the experiments. So publish. And so now we are at the end of the video. You have seen how to build up an experiment end to end, including the thinking. You have seen how to use Clarity to come up with some good insights. You have seen how to build variations without a visual editor, without paying for a visual editor, because you have one in your browser. You have seen how to generate JavaScript variations without coding, just using a ChatGPT assistant, custom GPT to build the variation for you. You have seen how to test the variation. You have seen how to use GTMsplit to set up the experiment. You have seen me making sure that the experiment actually runs. Then you have seen me adjusting the tracking, making sure the tracking works. And this is really all there is to know to run good experiments. One more thing, you have seen me do it. You have seen me reporting on the reporting slide. So this is super important. I have a video that explains this in detail. So go watch that video. It's all about the reporting and organizational memory. Because if you keep this kind of level of reporting, and by the way, the same slides you use later, when you evaluate the results of the experiments, you put all your findings on these slides, including screenshots of analytics, your thoughts. So bottom line, these slides here are super important to keep organizational memory and for your mental sanity whenever anyone comes and asks about past experiments. If you have proper documentation, it's very quick and fast to just send them the link and they can go and check. And in the reporting system video, you will see also that I use videos, short looms or even YouTube videos to make the point while I'm doing the analysis of the experiment, of the results, so that I don't have to do it again. Whoever wants to know about the conclusions we reached for that particular experiment can watch the video instead of coming to me to ask again. So this way I protect my time and everybody is on the same page because we all get the information from the same source, which is the slides or the video. Okay, enough about this. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Ciao.